When I was just 12 years old, children in my school had started teasing me. A hijde, a chakke, a baile. Most of my friends stopped talking to me and everybody used to tease me in the school. All because I was not manly like them. Talk about a 12-year-old being manly. Most of my school days, I was very lonely and I used to walk alone during the intervals on the grounds. And if I used to see a group of children coming towards me, I used to run, I used to hide. I used to try to be as invisible as I can so that I'm not abused or teased or beaten up. One day, some seniors cornered me and tried to pull my pants down and see if I was really a boy. That was the worst day of my life. And this is how my childhood was. Like most people have wonderful memories, sweet memories of their school days. For me, it was just complete terror. When I passed my 10th standard and when I went to college, I changed my institution. And I decided, it's time I made some friends. I'll change myself. I'll try to act a little bit more macho. And I managed to do that. In college, I would act a little more manlier than I was and managed to make a few friends. But one day, a friend of mine came up to me and asked me, Vishal, are you gay? And at that time, I didn't know the meaning of gay. And I told him honestly that I don't know what do you mean by word gay. Can you please explain it to me? He said, no, it's okay, leave it. He asked me to leave it, but I couldn't. I understood the tone in which he said the word gay as if it was some sort of a disease. And it really made me uncomfortable. Why this person said it in that tone? I went to an internet cafe. During that day, smartphones were not very common. There were no mobile phones back then, 1990, if I remember correctly. There used to be these internet cafes, and even Google was not a thing yet. I went to the internet cafe on Yahoo search. I typed the word GAY, enter. And boom, I got to know about so many things. The first thing that I got to know that there are people who are attracted towards the same gender. They are called homosexuals. Homosexual men are gay, homosexual women are lesbian. I got scared because the moment I read the definition of gay, I understood that yes, this is something, that I am. I got very scared. I remember the tone in which my friend had used the word gay. But on reading further online, I got to know that homosexuality was normal, just not very common. Alag hu, galat nahi. That was a bit of a relief. But I also got to know that society at large was not aware of this thing. And there was a lot of hatred and preconceived notions and misconceptions in the hearts and the minds of people. And in that moment, on doing further study, I realized that if I have to change, this hatred inside the society's heart for the community, more people like me have to come out. You know what? Where the hatred comes from? What we don't understand, we fear. What we fear, we hate. What we hate, we try to destroy. And at that very young age, I made a promise to myself that I am going to come out and I'm going to talk about my identity, my sexuality, so that more and more people become aware of these things. When I told my parents about my homosexuality, they didn't accept me immediately. And they, like everybody else, even today, had a lot of preconceived notions and misconceptions in their mind. First of all, they thought homosexuality is just choice. But if homosexuality was a choice, when did you decide to be straight? Did you decide to be straight? Did anybody of you all one fine day wake up and decide that you're going to be straight, gay? Yes or no? No, right? So just like you didn't decide that, you're going to be straight, I didn't decide that I'm going to be gay. Also, they had this misunderstanding that homosexuality is a disease. It's a mental disorder. But WHO, American Psychiatric Association, Indian Psychiatric Association have clearly and categorically stated that alternate sexuality is not any kind of disease or a mental illness. It's just a different sexuality, just like like-minded people. Then some people have this misconception that, that homosexuality is against nature. But if you look around you, homosexuality exists in so many species. So it's not against the nature. It exists in animals, it exists in birds. You can see gay swans, You can see gay tigers, donkeys. So homosexuality exists in nature everywhere. Some people think it's against our culture. Dhananjay ji just explained that in England in 1200 they used to think that it's imported from India. Indians now say that it's a westernized concept that we have imported. But if you look at our history, if you look at our literature, if you look at our mythology, there are so many examples of homosexuality, transgender. Shikhandi was a trans man, a trans king. You know, Kama Sutra, which is a gift of India to the world about sex and sexuality, mentions about alternate genders and alternate sexualities. And so many other examples. I'm sure many of our panelists will be sharing those examples. So no, it is not against our culture, not tradition. It has been there always. It is now here. What World Health Organization, American Psychiatric Association, and now Indian Psychiatric Association has also said that there is no proof that sexuality can be altered. You cannot change someone's sexuality. You might discover it late and think that you just became gay, but it's not like that. You've always been gay. You just discovered you are gay. You just discover you are bisexual. Your sexuality never changes. So I presented all these facts to my parents, and they are well-reasoned people, rational people, and when they understood that it is not a disease, that it's not unnatural, that it's not something that we choose to be, and it's not something that can be altered. So the only reasonable thing for them to do was to accept me. And so my parents accepted me, and that is when my life changed. I started becoming, thank you. It's only because of my parents and my siblings accepting me that I became more confident, and I could take up this cause of developing the LGBTIQ rights movement further in my country. So everything was good in my life, and I was very happy. This is before I started to activism. But during a span of 4 years, I lost 3 of my friends to suicide. All of them were gay, all of them from Kolhapur. The third person to commit the suicide was just 19-year-old. And it's not just about the fact that he killed himself. It's also about the fact how he killed himself. He popped up sleeping pills, he slit his arms, and he jumped off from a 5th floor of a building. So you can understand the kind of trauma that he was going through, that he had to cause so much pain, inflict so much pain to himself before he could finally take his life. That is when I called up 3 of my friends and I told them, we need to do something. We cannot see our friends die. These news just bothers me. I can't sleep at night knowing when next of my friend is going to kill themselves. So we decided to start this initiative called Abhiman, which works for the human rights and well-being of LGBTIQA++ queer community at large. Now it was very challenging because Kolhapur is a very small town and people were not very aware about these things. So we had to chart out a roadmap. So the first thing we did was to bring the community together. We were all scattered. There were no social media platforms for us to come together, no dating apps for us to find each other. Everybody was scared to meet in public because if 5 to 6 gay men come together, we are very visible. People will see, oh, they are so effeminate, they are definitely gay. And when one person is appearing to be like that, everybody else's sexuality is assumed. So they would not want to meet in public. So we would meet underground. When no one was at my home, I would call all my gay friends and we would have potluck dinners. And at these gatherings, we had a safe space where we could share our problems, where we could come for solutions together. And these spaces are very important for any community which is oppressed and which does not have anybody to guide them or don't know how to connect with others. These safe spaces provided where they could share their problems and we could come up with solutions together, or somebody else could have been through that and they would offer their solutions. So we created a safe space for the community where they could come together, be themselves. A majority of mental health issues happen to the LGBTIQA because we cannot be ourselves at homes, at workplace, at colleges. We are just pretending to be somebody else all the time. But when these people came to these gatherings, they could be who they wanted to. They could say what they wanted to. They could dance like they wanted to. But we saw after a lot of these gatherings, although we had come together and managed to empower the community, the society at large was still against odd with us. Still we would get news of somebody being beaten up, somebody being thrown out of the house, somebody being murdered. And then that was the time we decided that we need to build a bridge from the community to the society. And by then, Facebook had come, and I put out a message on my social media that we've lost 3 friends and we are looking to form an initiative. So anybody from the society who is willing to help us, or wants to be show their solidarity with us and help us get our rights, come forward. And so to my surprise, many people did come forward, and we started Abhiman, and we started a collective for LGBTIQ and allies called Rainbow Warriors. And this way, we brought the community and the society together, and we went to police stations, we went to media houses, we went to schools, organizations, and we started to create awareness. And on 17th May every year, we observe International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia. This is when we decided to have a big campaign, social media campaign in Kolhapur, without knowing how the response was going to be. And so we put a post, all of us, just 2 minutes. We put a post, all of us, that on 17th May coming, we are going to hold a social media campaign. And if you believe in equality, if you believe in dignity for every human being, please come forward and show your solidarity with your Instagram post, Facebook post, WhatsApp statuses, and show your solidarity with the hashtag I stand with Kolhapur LGBT. And on the day of 17th morning, when I woke up to thousands of posts on Twitter, Instagram, social media, people coming out in support of the community. So this is a turning point for the city. So I know there's a limitation of time and I would like to go on and on, but I'll just share my poetry since it's a literary event, and I would like to share something that apart from being a queer person and apart from being a proud Maharashtrian, a Kolhapuri, I am also a Sindhi person. When partition happened, Hindu Sindhis had to come to India, but were scattered all over India, and we do not have our own state. Just like Maharashtrians have Maharashtra, Punjabis have Punjab, we don't have our own state. So since we are geographically scattered, it's become very difficult for our language to survive. So, and language plays a very important role in acceptance. It is very easy to convince your parents, if you are LGBTQ, if you can convey this message in your own mother tongue. But my mother tongue is only not there. So how do I explain? There are no words in my mother tongue for gay, lesbian, sexuality. So I reached out to these Sindhi literary people who are responsible for the language formation, and they came up with few words. And I'll end my session with a poetry. Do we have an announcement to make?
I have, because I have to end this session.
Okay, I'll just quickly say one poetry and finish my session. Thank you so much for the patience. I'll directly say it in English instead of saying it in Sindhi and translating. So here it is. It's more rhyming in the original language. You say I am different, you say I am diseased. You say I am different, you say I am deceased. You say I am wrong. But WHO ने कहा है, homosexuality is normal, just not very common. WHO ने कहा है, homosexuality is normal, just not very common. अलग हूँ, गलत नहीं. अलग हूँ, गलत नहीं. Yes, I am different. Yes, I am different. But no, I am not wrong. And yes, I am different. But there are others like me. I am not alone. It's a long poetry. I'll just quickly end with the last year. You don't want me to marry, you don't want me to have a family. You just want me to eat, sleep, work and die. Eat, sleep, work and die. Eat, sleep, work and die. But why? Because according to you, marriage is between opposite genders only. But wasn't it you who said that marriage is a union of souls and souls have no gender? Wasn't it you who said that marriage is a union of souls and souls have no gender? Then why ask me to just eat, sleep, work and die, eat, sleep, work and die? I'll not just eat, sleep, work and die. I'm going to live, love, marry and thrive. I'm going to live, love, marry and thrive.